How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another UFC prediction video here today, guys. We have a massive card ahead. UFC 304 live from Manchester, England. Leon Edwards versus Belal Muhammad 2, the rematch. Also in the co-main event, Tom Aspinall heads to his hometown to defend his interim heavyweight title against Curtis Blaydes. Big night of fights, live from Manchester, and here are my picks and predictions for UFC 304, Edwards versus Muhammad 2. First fight on the table is Arnold Allen facing Giga Chikadze in a featherweight bout, kicking off the pay-per-view. As you guys know how we do these UFC predictions, we talk about every single fight on the pay-per-view, but let's talk about this. Fairly similar statistics. I mean, Arnold Allen, he's got a less of a TKO percentage than Giga Chikadze, but Arnold Allen, I'd say, is more the well-rounded fighter. I would expect Giga Chikadze to try and get the knockout or win a decision here in this fight. Unless Arnold Allen shoots a takedown, I can't really see this fight going to the ground. I mean, when was the last time Arnold Allen fought? Because I could have swore the last time I seen him fight was Max Holloway. That's the last time I've watched him fight, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna have to look that up real quick. I hope my computer doesn't crash on me, because it's been crashing on me a lot the last couple of days. Okay, he did lose to Evolov back in Toronto. Okay, I do remember that now that I think about it. But so Arnold Allen's on a 2-fight losing skid. I mean, anyone who takes Evloev to a close decision is a damn decent fighter. But yeah, the real question is, can he stop the power of Giga Chikadze? Can he move and get away from the power shots? And I mean, he's gonna have the hometown crowd on his side. It's gonna be a close fight, this one. I mean, they both have a very similar average fight time. Yeah, I gotta say, I like Arnold Allen this fight. I think he can just implement his strategy a little better. I think he's gonna use the hometown crowd to his advantage. Bear in mind, a UK crowd, that could definitely wear on someone a lot. The pressure could definitely get to someone massively in that fight. Speaking of which, I still can't believe they're having this fight at, like, the pay-per-view starts at like 3 in the morning in Manchester, England time. Like, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I'm going to go with Arnold Allen in this fight. I think he beats Giga Chikadze by a very narrow decision. I think this is going to be up there with Fight of the Night. A lot of good underrated fights on this one, in my opinion, but on to the next. Next fight up, probably, well, there's a lot of controversy around this fight because it wasn't listed on the pay-per-view for, well, on last week's Fight Night card. Like, it wasn't listed as a pay-per-view fight. But we have Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape, which is, in my opinion, probably, it's most likely to be Fight of the Night on the whole card. I mean, Mokaev, great all-around fighter. I mean, he's definitely more likely to take it to the ground than Manel Kape. But yeah, I'd say Mokaev's the more well-rounded fighter, and I mean, that's probably his best test yet, fighting Manel Kape in Manchester. And oh, this has just got great fight written all over it. I mean, the way I see this happening, I think this is going to be just an all-out brawl. I really do think this is going to be an all-out brawl. I think Mokaev is going to use the home crowd to his advantage. I really do think that. I mean, I can definitely see him. I think this is going to be a good fight where Kape's going to have some really good moments in this fight. But at the end of the day, I do think it'll be a decent, convincing performance by Mokaev. I can see him having his way with Manel Kape on the ground. I mean, I haven't really seen Manel Kape on the ground. Like, I can remember a couple of his fights, and I never really see Manel Kape go to the ground, defend. I mean, he can defend a takedown, but, like, I don't think he's gonna be that great at it against someone who's as tough and as durable as Muhammad Mokaev. So I'm gonna rock with Mokaev here. I think he's gonna find a submission late in the 3rd round. I think this is gonna be an all-out brawl to the finish. Both guys have tons of heart and tons of skill, but I think Mokaev is just better in every single department. I think he finds a submission. I think he adds to a submission tally. I think he gets Manel Kape out of there by, let's say rear naked choke. I think he's gonna get him in a rear naked choke late in the 3rd round. It's gonna be a great fight, and it's one to look forward to. Hopefully they actually put it on the pay-per-view because it deserves to be there. Next fight up, I believe this is the fight where the English fans are gonna be left a little bit disappointed, but I mean, you probably may not like this guy, depending on who you are, but King Green, he's changed his name from Bobby to King. Don't know why, but good for him, I guess. Fights Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the Baddy is back in the cage, and I personally don't think it's going to be a very good night for him. I mean, we all remember his disappointing performance against Jared Gordon. Who was it that he fought? I can't remember who he fought last time. Who was it? It was, oh yeah, it was Tony Ferguson. How do I not remember him fighting Tony Ferguson? But I mean, he didn't look great in that fight either, man. He really did not look great in that fight either. I mean, honestly, I am just tired out of my mind today, so that could definitely be playing a role, but yeah, I remember that fight now that I think about it, and Paddy it just did not look impressive. And I mean, with Bobby King Green, his last fight was a beautiful performance. I mean, Jim Miller was just a standing target in that fight, to be honest. Bobby was just boxing the head off him, leaving Jim Miller in a bloody mess, which you feel bad for the guy, but still. King Green, I just feel like he's a lot more accurate with the striking. I think Paddy's best chance in this fight is to get it down and get a submission, but even still, I think Bobby King Green is level, or if not better, in the grappling department. So I honestly think this is going to be a rough night for Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, and unless he brings his A game or finds a lucky punch, I do not see him beating Bobby King Green. I'm going to take Bobby Green by a 3rd round stoppage. I'm going to say, yeah, midway through the 3rd round. I think a lot of these fights are just going to be long, brutal brawls on this card. And yeah, man, I just think King Green, he's got the skills to do it, and he's going to implement everything he knows on Paddy Pimblett. Paddy the Baddy, I really just don't see a way to victory for him in this fight. I just don't see how he can beat Bobby Green, but hey, go prove me wrong, Paddy. I'm sure you're capable of it, but I just don't see him beating King Green, considering what I've seen recently in his last couple of fights at least. And now we get into the big fights. Next fight up, Tommy Aspinall puts his interim belt on the line in Manchester to take on Curtis Razor Blaydes. Big fight in the heavyweight division. This is going to be nuts. Oh boy, Tom Aspinall. Man, this could be a big night. This could be a big night for Tommy boy. But obviously, we know what happened in the first fight between these two. It was actually it would have been 2 years ago yesterday, as of recording this, when Tom Aspinall blew his knee out against Curtis Blaydes in the first fight in London, like 20 seconds in. So it was obviously not the night Tom Aspinall would have wanted. I mean, I'm going to be straight up and honest with y'all. I think Tom Aspinall is better than Curtis Blaydes just about everywhere. I think Tom Aspinall is faster, hits harder, more skilled. The foot, honestly, like Tom Aspinall moves like a welterweight, man. I do not get it. Like, for how big the man is and like how good his footwork is, I physically fail to I physically fail to understand how he's able to move that good. It's honestly amazing to me. I need to make my way over to Manchester and like train with him or something, because I need to know what he knows. But Curtis Blaydes, I mean, one thing, I think what Curtis really needs to do in this fight is just try to stay on the front foot and try and take Tom in the deep waters. That's what I think Curtis needs to do. I even think on the ground, Aspinall's got a really good submission threat, because I mean, his dad, like, he grew up in jiu-jitsu and everyone talks about his striking, man. Like, this guy's a beast. This guy's a beast. Like, I mean, I know Michael Bisping and Leon Edwards are the real deal when it comes to British MMA, but Tom Aspinall is the best thing that ever happened in British MMA, in my opinion. I think he's the best. I think he's the best fighter to ever come out of Britain, in my opinion. I know he's got to build his way up a lot more, but like the amount of praise I have for this man is second to none. I mean, honestly, I know John Jones will never fight him, but I think he's the one to beat John Jones. I really do. I have such high praise for Aspinall, but I honestly, like, now that I think about it, I mean, Curtis Blaydes is probably the toughest stylistic fight for Aspinall, but like, I can kind of see this fight kind of for for Aspinall playing out like how Derek Lewis beat Curtis Blaydes. It's just trying to stay on the back foot a little bit. I can see Curtis Blaydes shooting for a wild takedown and then Tom Aspinall just wailing with a wild uppercut. That fight was actually on my birthday, ironically enough, when Derek Lewis beat Curtis Blaydes back at the Apex. I remember that. That was like 3 years ago. But I was still in high school when that happened. But man, I'm taking Tom Aspinall. I'm taking Tom Aspinall. You should know this. What's really going to interest me is what's going to happen to Tom Aspinall when he gets out of the if this fight gets out of the second round, what's going to happen? Because Tom's never been into that deep waters in the UFC yet. I think he'd be really good in the deep waters, but we've never seen it yet. It's probably not a valid question, but it's a question we do have to ask. So I'm going to go with Tom Aspinall. I'm going to give him a third round knockout. I think Tom Aspinall is going to get Curtis Blaydes out of there in the third round. Hopefully he doesn't blow his knee out again, but I think this is a pretty decent fight. I think, I know I've said my praises about Tom Aspinall, but I do think Curtis Blaydes can give him a little bit of a challenge. So yeah, man, I just can't believe Aspinall knocked out Pavlovich in a minute. Like, that's still crazy to me, but anyway, main event time. And rounding it all off, we have our main event. Leon Edwards facing Belal Muhammad for the second time. The first fight between these two. Let's go back to March 2021. I remember this fight. I was actually having a party with my friends this night, and I left the party in time to get home in time to watch Gavin Tucker fight, who I've actually seen him fight and stuff before. And I mean, he trains about like an hour or so north of where I live. And so yeah, I came back to watch the Gavin Tucker fight. He lost that night, unfortunately. He actually fought Dan Ige that night, ironically enough. Oh, why is my eye so itchy, dude? Good God, I really shouldn't be rubbing it where it's so itchy. But yeah, and then I can't remember how many fights after Leon and Belal were. I just know they were the main event that day. But I remember thinking to myself after that fight, even with the eye poke and everything, I was like, Leon's a lot better than this guy. Like, Belal maybe, like, you can say what you think, like, Belal's a hard worker and all this stuff, and I mean, I'm not the kind of guy who just, like, discredits someone for no reason. I mean, I will admit the jokes with Belal are pretty funny. They are funny. I'll say that. But when it comes to Belal beating Leon Edwards, dude, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Like, Leon Edwards is the real friggin' deal, man. I mean, I know the Colby Covington performance was a little lackluster, but you don't beat Kamaru Usman twice and Colby Covington, like, for no reason. Like, in my opinion, Leon Edwards is top 5 pound for pound, and I mean, Belal's if Belal wants to win this title, he's going to have to be on the front foot all 25 minutes of this fight, or he's going to have to land a big shot to get Leon out of there. And I mean, Leon's chin's been tested before. I think he's got a really decent chin on him. And I mean, Leon's been in some, like, good tests. And I mean, I can remember back in 2019 when he was fighting Gunnar Nelson and RDA. And I mean, I think the only real time I've seen Leon wobbled is that when he fought Nate Diaz. That's the only time I can recall seeing Leon wobbled in a fight. But it's a good fight, man. Belal, the key, like I was actually listening to Anakin Florian podcast before I recorded this, and I highly agree with Kenny Florian, because the big key to victory for Belal is do not let Leon get comfortable in the slightest, because if Leon's comfortable, he's gonna be way more technical, he's gonna just pick you apart, boom, 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 boom. And I honestly think Belal has a good style to not make Leon comfortable, but even still, I just think Leon will work his jab, cut the ring off well, put Belal in positions he doesn't want to. I even think if they go to the ground, like, Leon can get on top, work some magic there, and well, I know one thing's for sure is this fight's more than likely going to see the final bell. And I mean, yes, Leon could find another head kick. I do think when it comes to knockout power, that left high kick is by far the biggest weapon in the books for Leon Edwards. But man, yeah, I honestly can just see Leon Edwards just picking Belal apart, like Belal coming forward and Leon just jabbing him, finding his shots, finding his range beautifully, landing kicks, beating up on his body. Like, I can see Belal toughing it out the whole fight, and I mean, he did have a great fight against Gilbert Burns and all these different people, but yeah, like even the Sean Brady fight, I think he did really good against Sean Brady, especially with Sean Brady being undefeated at the time and everything. But yeah, these guys have similar records and everything, but I'm gonna take Leon Edwards. Yeah, I've got Rocky in this one. I just don't think Belal has what it takes to be a champion, at least at welterweight, because with Leon Edwards in front of you, man, I know he's highly motivated by everything with his country, with back in Palestine, and yeah, like the first fight with Leon, but like I just can't see Belal beating Leon. I just can't see it. So give me Leon Edwards by a decision. I think he's just gonna find his range, pick Belal apart the whole night, and I think Leon Edwards defends the welterweight championship in England once again. And yeah, guys, that is gonna do it for my UFC 304 picks. I almost said 303. In the comments down below. Yeah, it's gonna be a big night of fights live from Manchester, England. If you're a British MMA fan, I highly recommend you go, because I do think this is going to be a great card live from the co-op. So enjoy your night. Yeah, be a good support, and yeah, British MMA, they always know how to put on a good show. So I always love when they go to the O2, because you just know it's going to be a banger. You just know it's going to be a banger. But yeah, guys, I will see you for UFC. Oh my god, I just realized Izzy's back at 305. Holy Murphy. Izzy versus Drickus. Good lord. Well, I'll see you for UFC 305, guys. Take care and peace.